Welcome to the Aging Confidently podcast. We're so glad you're here. I'm Karen Weaver, your host, and today's guest is Jennifer Smith. She owns Enlighten Wellness, which is a holistic health practice. So she's a certified holistic health practitioner. And underneath Enlighten Wellness, she also has Enlighten Wellness Center, which is a group of health care practitioners, massage therapists, chiropractor, acupuncturist.
And yoga therapy.
And yoga therapy.
Yeah.
That's what you have in there. So it's a fantastic kind of one-stop shop, I think, too. So Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I cannot imagine anybody better to talk to sleep about sleep with.
Thank you.
You have so much knowledge about so many things, and I guess is how this came about is Jennifer gave me a handout about sleep, and I was like, oh my gosh, everybody needs to know about this. So this is where we ended up here. But before we get started talking about sleep, just kind of where'd you come from? How'd you start? Getting into the holistic practice.
It's funny. I've had people ask me that before, and I don't know if it's any one thing, but I really credit my mother to kind of planting that seed. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, and every so often we went to an even smaller town to a tiny little health food store, and I loved it. And we just, we bought different supplements and herbal teas and things like that, and I don't know, my mother was always doing something a little healthy. She did yoga for a while, and I remember this phase she went through where she put wheat germ in everything we ate.
Yes. So, you're probably very regular.
Yes. And we always had a garden, and everything was homemade, and in my late 20s, early 30s, that's been a long time ago, she gave me a book written by Dr. Andrew Weil, who's fairly holistic, and I read that and I loved it. And then I discovered Dr. Mercola, Joseph Mercola, and read everything he wrote, and then I just started digging deeper, and especially after I got married and had kids, of course, I studied nutrition and herbs and homeopathy. And then I started teaching classes and helping people with their health out of our home. I had a lot of friends and family who had a lot of health problems, and they just weren't getting better by, conventional means. And I just felt there had to be a better way. Right. And it just kind of grew, and it got to the point where, I kind of joked that my husband kicked me out of the house. He was kind of like, I'm tired of these strangers being in our home, which, they weren't strangers to me, but, he was right. It was time.
Yeah.
So
kind of push you out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Exactly. I needed it.
Yeah, that's right.
I was mad at him at the time, but
gosh, that's a common theme.
But so then I trained as a traditional naturopath, which is known in the state of South Carolina as a certified holistic health practitioner. And I got my first office next to yours, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Your growth has been so fun to watch. It's been
Thank
great.
you.
Well, I mean, it's such a needed service, and it's funny. Allison Lively, who's also a holistic practitioner, she has a very similar story. That her mom, it just kind of she sort of grew up with it, and with her and you too, you guys did it. And your mom's, more, importantly, did it way before it was cool.
Yeah.
Way before it was mainstream. So they were probably looked at maybe a little, different.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so funny how the pendulum swings. And I think certainly as people are realizing as they take medicine to try and fix one thing, it breaks another. There's always a cause and effect that people more and more are looking for a more holistic, full body kind of solution to different problems or challenges. And
everything's connected.
Sleep is one for sure. So it's funny, we got in here this morning and Jennifer handed me this note that March is actually National Sleep Awareness Month. But, there are no coincidences.
Right, for sure. I didn't even know that until just a few days ago myself. So.
It's great. Well, it feels like everything's kind of serendipitous. But so my last podcast I did was all about travel, which is probably my most favorite subject, but my close second is sleep.
Sleep. I love it. All right.
I love sleep. People ask me, are you a morning person or night person? I'm like, I'm a neither person. I could sleep. I could go to bed at 8 and I could wake up at 8 and I'm fine. So much so to the point where, when the kids are in preschool and they fill out the little questionnaires like, how old's your mom? And you're like, you might be 25, but they say you're 50.
Right.
And one of the questions was, what's your mom's favorite hobby napping. Oh, they put napping.
No.
Oh yeah.
That's great.
I'm a big fan of sleep, needless to say.
Awesome.
I know. So the problem is, as we get a little bit older, sometimes it's harder to fall asleep, or if you wake up to go back to sleep. So I would love for you, maybe just as a preface, and I had put this in the introduction, that I feel like I can change my habits so much easier when I know the why behind something. Like, what is it actually doing for me to turn off the TV, to go to sleep, to have those regular bedtime hours? You know, why is that important?
Yeah.
So can you talk like functionally in our body?
Oh my goodness.
I know where to
there's
start.
so many benefits to sleep. Everything from having a better functioning immune system. Your brain, is so important. Your brain needs sleep so much. Your skin, that's something, near and dear to your heart. I mean, when we sleep, our body starts to produce collagen, among other things. Yeah, when we're sleeping. So a lot of things happen when we sleep that don't happen when we're not sleeping. And, I always tell people, if you do nothing else for your health, get your 10 to 2. And what I mean by that is sleeping from, getting to bed by 10 o'clock, at least a couple times a week, at least.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because when we sleep, our body undergoes this incredible cleansing, healing, detoxification process. Your body dumps, your liver dumps toxins, your hormones reset, tissues rebuild, different proteins are produced. And, the majority of that intense healing detoxification process occurs between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So in other words, sleeping from say 10 to 6, that's far more beneficial than sleeping from 12 to 8.
Oh.
So it's the same number of hours, but if you don't go to bed until 12, you've missed out on 50% of that intense healing, cleansing, detoxification process.
Absolutely.
So I just tell people, get your 10 to 2. Now, sometimes that's easier said than done, for a lot of people. And so, as a health practitioner, my job, I tell people it's not about replacing a drug with an herb. That's not the point. The point is getting to the root cause of things and looking at the body as a whole. And so sleep is a real important component of that. And so figuring out why a person can't sleep, that's what I like to do. And for some people, it could be, hormonal imbalance. For other people, and then again, where is that hormonal imbalance coming from? So I dig deep. But also for some people, they're just not using proper sleep hygiene. They're not setting up a sleep sanctuary, as I call it. And, because to me and you, sleep is sacred. And so you've got to set up this sleep sanctuary. So things like having a nice dark room. Dark. Maybe you need to buy some, what do they call them, blackout shades or whatever, blackout drapery curtains, nice and dark, nice and quiet, cool. Turn on your fan, even if it's in the middle of winter, because your body temperature actually drops when you're sleeping. And so kind of to help it out, kind of get it cooler to begin with. Another big thing is turning off your Wi-Fi. Because we're just exposed to so many unnatural frequencies, EMFs and things that we weren't exposed to until now. I mean, this is a new thing. And when your Wi-Fi is on, it's just constantly pulsating. We don't need that.
Right.
And when I really realized Wi-Fi was a big issue, I have a client who's outside of Boston, and we've done phone consultations and things. And she called me up, this was probably 5 years ago, and saying she was having migraine headaches, just out of the blue, just really bad headaches. And so, I was trying to piece together what has changed, and, nothing had really changed in her life that we could determine. And so I asked her, I said, well, do you have Wi-Fi? And at the time, not everyone had Wi-Fi like they do now. And because it was like about 5 years ago. And she said, well, yeah, we just got it. And I said, turn your Wi-Fi off at night. Just, turn it off when you go to bed. Turn it back on in the morning when you need it. See how that goes. And that was it.
Wow.
That was the only thing she did differently. So that's when I realized, boy, that is a big deal. So not only turn off your Wi-Fi, but get your cell phones and iPads and things, get them out of your room. Don't get them out, put them in the kitchen, turn them off, turn everything off. And, gosh, even if you've got an alarm clock right next to you, lamps, all of those emit electromagnetic frequencies that just are unnatural. Gosh, other things, we're really designed to go to bed when the sun goes down and to get up when the sun goes up. And so again, that kind of goes back to getting your 10 to 2. But, I've had people that just have nonstop insomnia, and I find that, their circadian rhythm is off. So I might have them go outside for about 4, 5, 6 days in a row, depending upon how long it takes, and actually watch the sun go down. Just stand there and watch it. It only takes a few minutes for it to happen. And then in the morning, watch the sun come up. There's something about that just resets your circadian
Plus
rhythm.
how peaceful.
Yeah,
to just give yourself the 4 and 4,
Right.
morning and night. I'm going to start
true.
doing that.
Yeah.
Because it just also gives me just a time to maybe breathe and be quiet for 4 minutes.
Absolutely.
At night and in the morning.
And it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful time. Other things I've had people do is change out your laundry detergent.
Ah.
If you're laying in bed and you're breathing in petrochemicals into your body, which, not to bash brands, but, there's a brand that starts with a T and ends with an E, and it has ID in the middle. That, that's some strong stuff.
It sure is.
Fabric softener, even things like, air fresheners and
Like plug-ins.
Those are the worst.
I know.
And not only do they mess up your hormones, your entire endocrine system, they really wreak havoc. But, you're breathing that in for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Also, your skin is your largest organ. And so you're absorbing that into your skin.
Yeah.
And it's just, your body doesn't like that.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that your body's crying out for help.
It's interesting because when I had Wilson, from Wilson's on
Yes,
Washington,
yes,
we were
I
talking
love
about
that.
thinning hair, and really the root of the problem is all these endocrine disruptors. Because he said he had never seen so much hair thinning now in his 30-something years of work. Well, I was like, so something's changed. Environmentally, and you just know.
change.
So, and we were talking with him too that it's not one thing; it's the buildup of things. So it's the sheets and the Wi-Fi and the plugins. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So as much as you can get rid of, you're taking a step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And because I think sometimes people get overwhelmed, like, excuse me, overwhelmed thinking, oh my gosh, I got to go 0 to 60.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, don't have to do that.
No,
Not at all.
Just make a 1-2 changes as you go along, and all of a sudden, it's better.
I teach different classes, different workshops in my office every month. And the last one, I said to the group, we've all heard the saying, death by 1,000 cuts.
Right.
So it's typically not just one thing that causes a health condition, but I also choose to believe in health by 1,000 drops.
Yes.
And whether that's an extra drop of sleep, an extra drop of sunshine, which we're not getting enough sunshine, that's also throwing off our circadian rhythm. It could be a drop of extra water. A lot of us are chronically dehydrated. Whatever it is, all these little things collectively work to improve your health.
Yeah.
So health by 1,000 drops.
I love that. I love that saying. So back to the laundry detergent. I use, I think, like 7th generation.
Great. That's a great brand.
one.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And, even Trader Joe's and different places, they have a lot of good ones out there now. So not only are they not petrochemical based, a lot of them are like maybe coconut based, all plant based. But then in addition to that, they have the natural, oftentimes essential oil based scents versus petrochemical based.
You know what else I've started using is those dryer balls.
Oh yeah,
instead of
used those for years.
Well, we haven't used dryer sheets for years because I would get headaches. So it's amazing when you walk down the grocery store aisle or Target of the.
I can't stand
it. I immediately can feel my head starting to throb a little bit from all those artificial scents, and I'm thinking these poor people that work here. First of all,
I know. I think that too.
That have to be kind of inundated in this, but it just goes to show you when it's concentrated like that, you just really do get a hit of how.
Well, whenever I hear somebody talk about the new car smell, I cringe, because to me, that's 5,000 new chemicals being released into our environment every year without even being tested.
So you tell people just roll those windows down and keep just keep it airing out as much as possible.
The last time I bought a new car was in the fall, intentionally, so that I could just have the windows down for days, as often as I could, just to have that cleared out. But that's kind of all part of it. And back to your point about people getting overwhelmed, I know it's easy to do. And I tell people, even if it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back, you're still moving
That's right.
in the right direction. You're still moving forward. So yeah, all these little things that you can do collectively to help your health. And, sleep is one of them.
Yeah.
So, and some other things, I don't even know if I really even finished your question as far as setting up a sleep sanctuary, but, even kind of thinking about it during the daytime, especially if you have trouble sleeping. And I know around maybe 2 o'clock, a lot of us tend to kind of get that 2 o'clock drag that we call it, where we get tired and maybe reach for, I don't know, a Coke or a coffee or an energy drink or whatever the case is. And as tempting as that may be, you just have to resist that temptation. Grab some water. A lot of times when we're tired, we're run down, we're dehydrated. Or even maybe put some electrolyte powder in it as opposed to Gatorade, or some lemon, or coconut water. Coconut water is very, it's rich in electrolytes and very hydrating. You might need to do the little 4-minute workout that we just did,
I'll put a link to that in the notes.
Okay, great.
Is it Zach Bush?
Zach Bush, yes. Dr.
I'll
Zach
put a link
Bush.
into the notes
So
for that.
that'll give you a nice little boost, get things moving. But when you add stimulants in the afternoon, especially from about noon on, especially 2, 3, 4, that definitely impairs your sleep. For some people, sometimes even eating chocolate, that's got caffeine in it. And then I know of people who drink wine in order to get to sleep, and they think that it helps them sleep, but it really doesn't. It's more of a restless sleep. You don't really go down as deeply as you would without the alcohol. So as tempting as that is, if you're having trouble sleeping, just kind of look at all those things. Even replacing different scents, the plugins you mentioned, essential oils. If you've got quality essential oils, those can do wonders for your sleep, diffusing them in your bedroom.
What are your favorites?
Oh, gosh.
At night?
There's a certain person that I know very well, and if that person gets to bed before I do, and maybe a little snoring goes on, that impairs my sleep.
Right.
So I'll put in a blend that's it's called Breathe, and it's that I'll put it in the diffuser, and it's got some peppermint, Ravensara, melaleuca, lemon, eucalyptus, and it just kind of opens up airways so that no snoring, the snoring subsides and I can sleep. So that's a nice one. A lot of people love lavender for sleep, and I'm one of those handful of people that lavender actually energizes me. And so, but if I mix lavender with another oil that's maybe rich in sesquiterpenes like vetiver or frankincense or cedarwood, then it calms me down. So I have to blend my lavender.
Interesting.
There's a blend I love called Serenity, and it's got lavender, chamomile, sandalwood, a touch of vanilla. So that's a good one for me.
And I know you and I use doTERRA, which we love.
Yeah,
and,
love that.
Young Living's also another one that's out there that's a clean. I like to give people some names, because you do have to get high quality essential oil. So doTERRA, Young Living, you can find
Plant Therapy.
Plant Therapy is another one.
Yeah, Robert Tisserand. So
Okay.
there's some good brands out there. There's some really bad ones too. So you don't want to be buying your essential oils from
At Walmart,
or Kmart or any other mart for that matter.
That's right.
But they can be real helpful. Also just managing stress. And I know that's easier said than done, but that transfers into the night.
Yeah.
So, I find that, just maybe deep breathing techniques, deep abdominal breathing throughout the day, or even as you're going to bed, that can be very helpful to kind of help activate the vagus nerve, the gut-brain connection. Let's see, what are some other things? Adaptogenic herbs. I'm a big fan of those.
Yep.
So adaptogenic herbs are just really smart herbs. They know what your body needs. So if, in other words, if you're stressed, you've got a lot of anxiety, adaptogens can help you just kind of relax without knocking you out like a sedative would.
Right.
But on the other hand, if you're just kind of dragging, you got some brain fog, they'll perk you up without giving you the jitters like caffeine. So I'm a big fan of adaptogens. I know I've shared with you a lot, like schizandra, rhodiola, ashwagandha. Those are some nice adaptogenic herbs.
And they have teas too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know that comes in capsules and teas, and
Right,
is it
tinctures.
all I mean, I know. You gave me the...
So when you're dealing with plant-based medicine, I really tell people to think of it as like 3 different strengths.
Yes.
So the first strength is just like the loose herbs, like what you would use in your spice cabinet, and or to make teas with. That's the weakest form. And then you go up to capsules and tinctures. They're more concentrated. And then by far, essential oils are the most highly concentrated form of plant medicine.
Yeah, that's right. So even sipping a cup of tea, I love Tulsi.
I love Tulsi. Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it just gives you that energy, but without the jitters.
Right.
And is that what herb is that?
It's an adaptogen.
It is an adaptogen.
Yeah,
okay.
It's also known as holy basil. That's another name. It's an Ayurvedic herb.
Yeah.
So and another side benefit of Tulsi is that it also helps bind to radiation and help flush it out of the body. Yeah. So if I have a client that has to get something, a scan, maybe a mammogram or an X-ray or something, I say, drink some Tulsi tea afterwards and a few other things. But that's a great adaptogen.
Okay. Yeah.
So just kind of thinking during the daytime, not wait till it's time to go to bed and you're wired for sound, but just kind of planning that out throughout the day. Keeping in check what you eat and what you drink, and being mindful of the time. Also, I didn't sleep well last night, and I shared with you that this morning I watched the season finale of a show last night that was really violent.
Yeah.
It really upset me. So I went to bed and my heart was just kind of racing for a while.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to calm down and relax and sleep. So I'm not practicing what I preach, but it's a rare night.
Yeah, for sure. So what about those? So that's great hygiene to hopefully get people to sleep. Do you have any tricks if you wake up in the middle of the night? I mean, lately it's been, and I know it's hormonal because it's on the dot, 3:00. And for me, I can tell I'm going through some kind of hormonal something.
Yeah.
Probably should come see you to figure out exactly what's happening. But it's weird. I'll go through phases of just great sleep. 10, I wake up naturally at 6. I don't even need an alarm. And then there's phases where this happens.
Yeah.
I do not have a problem going to sleep.
Okay.
Ever.
That's good.
But so when you do wake up at 2:30, 3:00, what do you tell people to do to help them fall back asleep?
Okay. Well, first of all, around that time, 2:33, a lot of times that can be your liver crying out for help. So you may need to address some liver issues.
It's always the damn liver.
Okay. I know, especially with me.
God, whatever.
I'm a liver girl.
God, I go to my acupuncturist. I go to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And she's like, your liver. I was like, I know. It's my liver.
Okay.
So I do. I need to love on my liver a little bit more.
Love on your liver.
Yeah.
And really, I tell people all the time, there are a lot of, I'm convinced at least 90% of Americans are walking around with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and don't even know it.
Yeah.
But I tell people, don't go thinking you're anything special because it's everybody anymore. It's just a different world out there. Sure. We are just processing so many more toxins than we used to. And fortunately, your liver has an amazing capacity to heal and regenerate itself, unlike any other organ or gland. But you do need to love on it. So, we may want to look into some liver work. But for now, sometimes a change of scenery will help for sleeping.
For sure. Yep.
And because after a while you lay there and your mind just tells you, I can't sleep here. So maybe if you go onto the couch or into a recliner, or if you have a spare bedroom, sometimes that little change in scenery can make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. I have noticed that.
So another thing, doing some deep breathing.
Okay.
And, you may need to move away from your husband for a bit so you don't wake him up, but just in, through the nose, deep, down low, breathe like a baby, down deep into your belly versus high up into your chest, and hold that for a few seconds, and then out fully. Be sure and exhale fully, because, we tend to harbor toxins. We get like stale air in the bottoms of our lungs that kind of becomes rancid and it's ammonia. So you want to really exhale fully. And again, that in turn will kind of activate the vagus nerve, which is gut brain, very relaxing.
Yeah.
So deep breathing can definitely help. Meditation, I work with my clients a lot, teaching them how to meditate. And, there's really no right or wrong way to meditate. Sometimes it's just a matter of sitting there and imagining everything just kind of melting from your head to your toes. And very slowly, it could be your forehead, your eyes, your jaw, your mouth, your neck, just one by one, little by little.
Yeah.
It might be keeping a journal next to your bed on your nightstand. And sometimes you'll lay there and think, gosh, I got to remember this tomorrow, or I got to do that. Well, I say just get up and get those thoughts out of your head and onto paper.
Mm-hmm. And it probably helps to do that even for a couple minutes before you go to bed.
Exactly.
Too, right? Just like
absolutely.
Just a brain dump.
Yep.
Out.
For sure.
Because we do. I mean, especially like, okay, I got to remember. What do you
Sure.
How am I going to remember that?
Yeah.
So to get it out, I'm sure there's some subconscious always working.
Always.
When you don't
no
get it
doubt
out on
about
paper.
it.
Yeah.
No doubt. Putting your phone away at least an hour before you go to bed. That's another thing. But again, back to if you wake up during the night. Let's see. Practicing gratitude.
Yeah.
And I always give my clients who do my wellness programs, after I get to know them a little while, I'll give them an empty journal, and I base it on their personality and that time in their life. So for this person, it might be a gratitude journal. For that person, I was working with a person a while back who was always beating himself up over not being perfect, not making all these changes at once. And so for him, the journal was a matter of writing. I said, just when you go to bed at night, write down 3 things you did for yourself that day, whether it be, eating vegetables with every meal, or whether it be drinking half your weight in ounces of water that day, or whether it be doing the 4-minute workout, anything. Just write down 3 things you did for yourself that day, and then 3 things in the morning. So you can do that in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Hey, what am I stressing about? I did this, and that for myself. Right. Or I'm so grateful that I live in this beautiful country in a safe home, and I've got a healthy family. Just write down 5 things you're grateful for.
Yeah. Just to kind of break that cycle of thinking.
Yeah.
Kind of interrupt that wheel, the hamster wheel. It goes a long way for sure. Well, so we don't want to turn the TV on.
No way,
and we don't want to
Jose.
Scroll through our phone.
Oh, that can be the worst, because the blue light, also known as white light, that emits from your cell phone, laptops, things like that, it impairs your pineal gland's ability to produce melatonin.
Oh, wow.
And so that's a big deal. And it's funny, people talk a lot about hormones in America, and they tend to think of estrogen and testosterone, but we've got about 100 hormones in our body that really all work in symphony together. So melatonin is a hormone, insulin is a hormone, cortisol is a hormone. I mentioned insulin, melatonin, serotonin, dopamine, all those things are hormones.
Yeah,
You
and there are levels that they need to stay within, or we get out of balance, and then it definitely shows. It's interesting. I have figured out that when I eat sugar, this sounds so gross, but I sweat.
Okay, I'm
in my
not
sleep.
surprised.
I sweat in my sleep. Is that
I'm
my
not
liver just
surprised.
crying out for help again?
Help me!
I'm not already.
Well, and that's another thing. Sugar is my kryptonite.
Yeah.
I love sugar.
I know.
Oh, I love it.
I know.
But yeah, there's nothing that destroys your immune system faster than sugar, and impairs your sleep as well. No doubt about it. I just had someone the other day ask me about RLS, restless leg syndrome. And so again, I'm always going through what caused what, and I'm like, how much sugar do you eat? And I said, be honest, no judgment here.
Right.
How much sugar? And when we really dove into it, that person consumed a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
A lot.
Well, and it's hidden everywhere.
It's in everything.
It really
They hide it in bread and in spaghetti sauce and in salsa and different things. And the reason is because sugar is highly addictive. I have an acquaintance a friend actually, who's a former heroin addict. And she said that sugar was by far more addictive than heroin.
Wow.
And I've heard that from other people.
Well, and it's so mainstream and easy to get. I mean, it's,
Well, and of all the people I've worked with addictions, that's that's really the gateway drug is sugar. And
I believe it.
And companies put it in their food because they want you to be addicted to their food. They want you to buy more. So you may think you're addicted to their food product, but you're actually addicted to the sugar in it.
Yeah.
And it just makes your body just, move all over the place.
I know.
Just
So did
crying for
she
help.
eliminate some of the sugar?
Well, she feels that was definitely the gateway drug, and
I'm sorry, your restless leg syndrome.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was it.
That was
and
it.
When I talk to people about eating sugar, I think they envision in their head sitting down eating a bowl of sugar.
Right.
But when we break down all the hidden forms of sugar, whether starting the day with sugar in your coffee, that's kind of where it starts, and then you kind of want more and more and more.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
and I also kind of eliminated her fear of fruit, because the naturally occurring sugar in fruit is far different than added sugar in food products.
Yeah.
So just keeping in check your sugar, your caffeine, your thoughts, your sleep environment. Having it be dark and very quiet and cool and not a lot of toxic scents and things like that.
It's so interesting because there's so much that I know about. I mean, I know that, but it's so nice to get a refresher every once in a while. Be like, you really do have control over the quality of your sleep.
100%.
Sometimes, and then I was at dinner, I was like, oh God, I hope I sleep okay tonight because I haven't been sleeping well.
Oh no.
Well, I'm probably already setting myself up for, that worry about waking up more than I did, but
it's true.
Yeah, so
everything that you tell yourself, whether it's positive, negative, or neutral,
true.
It permeates through every cell in your body.
Every cell. People don't realize, but it is a cellular connection.
No doubt
for sure.
about it. So you're just telling yourself, gosh, I'm going to get great sleep tonight, and that is all a big part of it for sure.
So I love the part about the glymphatic system. I know you touched on it, but can you give a little bit, what is it and why is it important?
Yeah, well, your lymphatic system runs throughout your entire body. You actually have more lymphatic fluid in your body than you do blood. And but unlike your cardiovascular system or your circulatory system, you don't have a pump, So to get your lymphatic fluid moving to release that cellular debris, typically it's done through exercise. And certain exercises are better for it than others, but exercise is the main way to get your lymphatic fluid moving. There are some other ways too if you can't exercise. But anyway, your brain, they discovered probably 3 or 4 years ago that your brain actually has its own lymphatic system. And they call it the glymphatic system. And the reason they call it that is because the G comes from glial cells, which are the cells in your brain that are responsible for that. And so your brain accumulates toxins, and they contribute to amyloid plaque that contributes to, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, dementia, things like that. And so you gotta flush that out, the glymphatic fluid or the glymphatic system. And that only happens when you sleep. It doesn't happen any other time of the day. So your cerebral spinal fluid is what does that, and from there, the waste is eliminated, and your brain cells while you sleep are actually reduced by 60% in order to make space in your brain for that glymphatic fluid to be released and those toxins to be released.
I wonder if that affects dreams. I wonder if that's what part of the reduction. I don't know. I never thought about.
I think it probably could, because there is a certain supplement that I recommend to a lot of my clients, depending upon their needs and everything. And one of the things it does is helps decalcify the pineal gland of fluoride and different toxins. And that's a very common comment that I get from that supplement is, oh my gosh, I dream so much more vividly.
Interesting.
And it's a function of detoxing. So, I'm sure that it would contribute to that.
Dreams too are ways that your subconscious is working out problems for you too.
Absolutely. So, even being able to learn better. I think of all the many nights in college. Oh, I'll pull an all-nighter. Wait till the last minute. Oh, I'll just stay up all night and I'll be fine. Well, that's not really how the brain works.
Right.
We actually need sleep for learning before we learn and after. To solidify what we learn. learned. Yeah, before and after. That's been proven. So I just can't stress enough the importance of good sleep for so many things. Brain function, and also I mentioned that's when our bodies produce collagen. So, and how many times do you not get good sleep and you look in the mirror, like today?
I know, I'm like, thank goodness for concealer.
Oh, goodness, yeah, and I don't have any on. So, I see these dark circles and bags under our eyes, and that's why we need to flush those toxins, reset our brain, our hormones, everything.
Well, a lot, holistically too, the under eye can be a sign of kidneys too. So if you're not flushing and doing all that, I mean, it can be several things. Sometimes it's hereditary. Sometimes it's just blood that needs to kind of be moved out. So you can kind of do that gently with your fingers too. But if it's chronic, to think about, am I detoxifying my body well enough? If not, you may be showing it under your eyes. And it's, again, our bodies are amazing because they give us signs and signals for things that we need to kind of pay attention to.
We just need to listen. Yeah. Another thing, when we sleep, our blood vessels dilate some. And if you're not getting sleep, again, back to the dark circles or kidney or thyroid. It could be many different things.
Well, it's funny, the whole 10 to 2 thing as far as skincare goes, people... I try to get people to do their skincare routine morning and night because it has, the daytime routine is for protection, the nighttime routine is for repair. So I said, but if you have to pick one, you have to do it at night.
Really?
I mean, you have to wash your face and put your serums on your moisturizer because of the repair mechanism.
So that makes sense.
And do it before 10 o'clock because skin's the same way. 10 to 2 are the main hours for skin repair as well as everything else. So if you have to pick, definitely do it. And I tell people, if you feel like, you just want to go to bed, to actually go do your skincare routine before you even make dinner. You get home, you change your clothes, because a lot of us go home and change our clothes into something a little more comfortable to make dinner. Go ahead and do your skincare routine. So then all you have to do is brush your teeth and go to bed.
Right.
And then it's done. But
that's great advice.
Yeah, it's really important that repair, giving your skin and your body the things it needs to kind of help repair
heal itself.
Yeah. So, gosh, so much good information. I'm looking at CBD oil because it's such the rage right now. Do you feel like that's helping people with their sleep?
That can help people a lot with their sleep.
Yeah.
And, again, quality is key, just like essential oils. There are a lot of great products out there, because of this CBD oil boom. But there are also a lot of not so great products.
Right.
And so before you do anything, make sure you've got a quality product. One of the main reasons is because CBD oil is a bioaccumulator, so it absorbs toxins, tenfold. And so if that hemp plant has been grown in soil that's contaminated with heavy metals, arsenic, a lot of our soil is, and then sprayed with Roundup, glyphosate, it's going to absorb that like a sponge.
Wow.
So make sure that it's beyond organic, grown high quality. Even the processing of it, like a subcritical CO2 extraction method, is good. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, that can dramatically help people's sleep patterns. And, when I first started using CBD oil, I found that it did help me sleep better because I thought, gosh, I thought I slept good, but it did help me sleep deeper. But then it flipped on me, and then it gave me energy. So now when I take CBD oil, I only do it during the daytime.
Interesting.
Morning or afternoon.
So is that your little
fine.
Boost even sometimes?
Yeah, it can.
Absolutely.
It can give me a little boost. And it's been a while since I've taken it at night, so maybe if I tried it again, I would be okay.
Well, we're constantly changing. I tell people all the time, just because something works for you now doesn't mean it's going to work for you in a year. Our bodies just change and shift.
Yes, absolutely.
I hope I don't get in trouble saying this about you, but I remember when you were using CBD before it was a thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I could smuggle it in, and now it's everywhere. But
that was 5 years ago.
Gosh, I know.
Well, it was right after it had become legal because the hemp plant in general has been illegal in America for 80 years.
Yeah. And I thought the story you told me was fascinating about why we are so deficient. Is it the cannabinoid? What's the receptor called?
Well, the endocannabinoid system is throughout our entire body, including in our brain. And we don't even have CBD receptors, or I'm sorry, we don't even have omega-3 receptors in our brain, although we need them. We need omega-3s for our brain, but we do have that for CBD. We do have our endocannabinoid system in our brain. So it's there for a reason. And, our endocannabinoid system is, for the most part, been asleep for 80 years.
I know. Tell the story.
Legal.
I just thought this was so interesting.
Yeah, well, and if you back up prior to that, just America being founded on hemp was a big part of it. You were required to grow hemp, a certain amount of it, just to kind of get the economy going and everything in America. Our Constitution was written on hemp paper. Our first flag, Betsy Ross, stitched out of hemp fabric. Our clothing was made of hemp. And then, we were always an agrarian society up until recent years. And we foraged for hemp. We ate it. It was part of our diet. And then later on, as we farmed, we fed it to our animals, to our livestock. And then we ate the meat. We drank the milk. We ate the eggs. So it was part of our diet up until about 80 years ago. And then, of course, now.
When they made it illegal.
Yeah.
And clear cut it all.
Right.
And then we are affected because we're not getting it because we are what we eat.
Yeah.
I mean, I had that podcast interview with Amy Bishop from Greenbrier Farms, and we talked a lot about, how they feed their animals, and you are what we feed our animals. No doubt about it.
The frequency, the energy of that, everything. So
the frequency. I love that. We'll have to talk more about that. So much to talk about. So CBD, that's great. That is.
Just waking up your endocannabinoid system slowly with a quality product. Can be very beneficial.
Not go again from 0 to 60.
Right.
Yeah. Good. Well, listen, this has been an amazing conversation. I am going to check to see if we have any questions. But in the meantime, while I look at that, I think people will probably want to be sending you an email or contacting you or something. So can you just tell people how they can find you on the internet or where else?
Yeah, the website is enlightenupstate.com. And, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but not a whole lot. I'm not the most tech-savvy girl you'll ever meet, but it's, at enlightenupstate.com. And, Enlighten is the Facebook page. And let's see, what else? I don't have a YouTube channel at this point. Maybe this will break me out of my comfort zone to start one at some point.
So you have one thing you can book as a pop-in. Now, is that for existing clients?
That's for established clients.
All right. So you have different appointment levels, but it is so easy to book online on her website if you are wanting to kind of delve further. What appointment would that be?
Most people start with what's called a foundational consultation. That's a 2-hour face-to-face consultation. And, I tell people it doesn't really matter what your diagnosis is. A lot of times they're not right anyway. But I can always find a crack or 2 or 3 or 4 in someone's foundation. And whether that's, they're not getting enough sleep or, not drinking enough water or whatever the case is.
Right.
So we start there, we firm up the foundation, and then we go from whatever their diagnosis is or symptoms or whatever. And most people then will convert that to a wellness program. I have 60 or 90-day wellness programs because I specialize in autoimmune conditions, and that's not something you can wipe away in just one appointment. So it's kind of a combination of nutrition and stress reduction techniques and detoxing and a lot of education. I don't ever just tell my clients what to do. I want them to understand my recommendations and be an active part of it. And I tell them that, I work for you. You don't work for me. So if there's something that I recommend that doesn't sit well with you, that's okay. We've got options. We've got a lot of options when it comes to holistic health. So.
Well, you are an absolute wealth of information. Every time I sit down with you, I learn something new and feel better able to care for myself when I walk away. So thank you. You have a gift,
Karen.
And I really, really appreciate you sharing it with us today and sharing your gift with your clients and really anybody that comes in contact with you. So
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. To finish out our little conversation, I always like to ask my guests, what does aging confidently mean to you?
Well, gosh, to me personally, that just means embracing your instincts, your intuition, and your life experiences. That's not something that can be taught or bought. And, sometimes I wish I had a pause button But at the same time, I kind of think maybe the best is yet to come.
Absolutely.
So bring it on.
Bring it on. That is my mantra. The best is yet to come, right? Every day.
Absolutely.
Every day. Well, thanks again, Jennifer. This has been
for having
great.
me.
Just to close out, thank you so much for listening and watching today. I hope you've learned something today that is helpful to you. If so, please share this podcast with your friends so we can grow our Aging Confidently tribe. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can join us live here on our Aging Confidently Facebook page every second and fourth Tuesday at 10 a.m. And remember, we are all confident and have so much to offer this world, especially when we come from a place of gratitude and confidence. So let's age confidently together and turn the so-called midlife crisis into a midlife inspiration. Thanks. See y'all next time.